Hi friends, thanks for joining us. Please subscribe to our channel and leave a like. We really appreciate all the support from y'all. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, you can check us out. We're on Ray Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
Yeah,
need some TikTok videos.
I love TikTok.
Yeah. It's a great place.
We got a football heavy edition with a sprinkle of Jets mention. We got the NFL Power 5. We got the NFL Hot Topics, CFL Hot Topics. But let's start off with our quick and dirty CFL Power Rankings. Who do you got at 9, Benny, in the basement?
The team that's probably going to remain in the basement for the rest of the season. I got the Ottawa Red Blacks, 3-10.
Yeah.
Just got beat pretty bad. 5 interceptions. I don't know. Toronto returned 2 or 3 of those for touchdowns.
They're done.
It was not good.
They're done. See, the way the Red Blacks are, this is the reason why we have the playoff format we have. They are still mathematically in the playoff hunt. So you're going to have some people still coming out to games. If they're out, well, they were out actually. Well, you know what I'm saying.
Good and bad. I mean, the fact that they
exactly.
still have a shot at the playoffs is kind of ridiculous. But
any given Sunday, at number 8, I have the Elks, who are just as bad. I don't know what else to say about them. Chris Jones should not be a GM. He should not be a GM.
I got the Elks too. I'll give Jones a chance at next season to see if he builds, because I mean he did a good job in Saskatchewan there after the first season.
But he wasn't the GM.
Didn't he have control over the roster there?
I mean, Edmonton. He wasn't the GM, and he won a championship. Saskatchewan.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah. I forgot about the Edmonton one. When he took off after winning.
Yeah, he's like, time to go now, and he left.
Yes, and then he went to be GM of Saskatchewan and everything, right? Coach and everything.
Yeah.
So he took a little bit to build that. So maybe that's what he's doing here. But
did he win a Grey Cup in Saskatchewan?
No.
No, he left in like 2018, and he left. Yeah. He left with unfinished business. So he hasn't won a Grey Cup as a GM, and he's won 1 Grey Cup as a coach. So he has no clout to be a GM. I don't know. They should change that.
Yeah, we'll find out. I don't think they're getting rid of him after this year, anyways.
No, keep him as coach, but bring back Ed Hervey.
Yeah,
because he has G-Roy Salmon as his assistant
in BC. There, yeah. Or is G-Roy? Oh yeah, G-Roy's in Edmonton, right?
Yeah, he's a yes.
But is Hervey? No, Hervey's not in BC anymore either, right?
No, Hervey got. There's some controversy about Hervey and la. Anyways, they have business to do in the offseason in Edmonton.
They do,
and I hope they get better. It's a pillar franchise. We need them. We need them.
And they still have a shot at the playoffs. Nobody's out yet.
Who do you got at number 7?
Another team who has a shot at the playoffs and who blew it last week. I got the Ticats, Hamilton Ticats.
I don't have the Ticats at 7, so you can explain to me why you have them at 7.
Wow, because they went into Montreal after thrashing the Bombers, basically, and couldn't get the job done against Montreal. Making mistakes. Dane Evans looked okay. Looked better than he has. Not as good as the Bomber game, but was serviceable. But really, no turnovers. I don't think he ended up throwing any touchdowns either. So,
yeah,
and a lot of penalties.
I don't argue Saskatchewan. Hamilton at 7. Spoiler alert. I took Saskatchewan at 7. They're just a mess on and off the field. They're trending downwards. After this season, with them not making the Grey Cup. That's my prediction. They had to hit the reset button. They got to get rid of Jeremy O'Day. They could have made the Grey Cup in their home stadium. What they do in the offseason? Nothing.
Well, I got Saskatchewan at 6. So, yeah. Same thing though. But hey, Cody Fajardo said today, everyone who if once the Saskatchewan Roughriders clinch the playoffs, teams will be scared to play them. So,
okay.
There's that.
Okay. Yeah, the teams in the East, maybe. Teams in the East.
I don't even think they'd end up beating Montreal anyways.
Oh, my gosh.
Montreal at home with that pass rush.
I have Hammy at 6. I really thought they turned the corner, and they got me yet again with their bullshit. Every week they look good, and I choose them, and what do? They poop the bed. I'm done with Hamilton. I will never take them again for the rest of the year. I don't care who they're playing. It can be Hamilton, Ottawa.
I don't believe you.
Hamilton plays Ottawa twice. I will take Ottawa twice. I don't care.
They do play Ottawa twice.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know at the end. So
I know, and I'm going to take Ottawa twice. I'm going to call those picks in now.
the good thing about Hamilton has is they do have a game against Saskatchewan and then 2 games against Ottawa. So they have to beat Saskatchewan to have that chance, and those 2 games against Ottawa. So they still got probably one of the better chances. Yeah.
They pretty much control their destiny. If they can run it out against teams that I think they're better than, but...
We think they're better than Ottawa. We'll find out.
I think they're better than Saskatchewan, and we will find out. I don't care for them anymore. At number 5, I got the Als with a big win over Hamilton. And they're still in striking distance of first. I don't think they'll get there in the East, but it's interesting.
Yeah, well, they play Toronto too, right? Mm-hmm. Not this week?
No, Calgary plays Toronto this week.
Oh, right. Yeah. So, but they have a game against Toronto at some point or throughout the end of the season. So they have a chance, but they're 2 games behind. Their defense looked good again. Harris looked fine. Got the ball out. The Hamilton pass rush couldn't get to Harris because they had a good game plan for that, and their D was stout and making stops when they had to. And a late fumble in that game caused by the D, stopped Hamilton from coming back in that game. But they're going to need their D. I think more than anything, that D is going to have to keep going. That pass rush is going to have to keep going. And they seem to have got the penalties in check or in control. So,
you know what? I'm looking at these, the Calgary game, the Montreal game, the Hamilton game against Winnipeg. I think the blitz is starting to come back in the CFL. Not just the blitz throw once in a while, but like the Don Matthews Baltimore blitz. I think that should start coming back in the CFL. And I think that make it more exciting too.
Yeah, you do see it quite a bit, right? A little bit more. And the teams have been all over the Bombers this year quite a bit. And
I think that's it. That's the key.
Yeah. So they see it, and that's huge because you saw how Montreal and Hamilton beat Winnipeg. Yeah. And even in the game Montreal ended up losing to Winnipeg, they were still all over Collaros in that game. So
yeah, people are going to blitz more. It's worth it. It's worth it. You got to be pretty accurate on that big field and make a decision with a quick blitz coming at you.
Yeah, for sure.
This is weird to say. First time BC for me is out of the top 3. I have them at 4.
Wow.
Just a tough week. I thought the progression of Vernon Adams would be better, but looks like it might be a regression for the week. I don't know. I think we start to ask the question, did Vernon Adams peak in that 1 year in Montreal?
Yeah.
It's fair to ask, I think.
It does. Like he's always had that. He had that one great year, obviously, and he's been inconsistent quite a bit for the most part for the rest of his career, even before and after that season, right?
Yeah.
So this is another case of it, and sometimes you just don't know what you're getting with Vernon Adams. It'll be the superstar kind of guy or the guy that showed up on Friday and barely got over midfield, completed 50% of his passes.
With all those weapons.
Yeah, it wasn't good, and plus BC then ended up losing Burnham to injury too. So they didn't cross the 50-yard line until the third quarter. Like Calgary's 50-yard line until the third quarter.
Yeah, y'all haters can stop with this. Rourke could just throw it up in the air to anyone. Rourke was clearly a cut or 2 or 3 or 4 above the rest. So y'all can stop with that BS now. He was just a Canadian that just threw the ball in the air, man. You better shut up with that garbage.
Yeah, it makes it tougher to see because now you're thinking, what could have Rourke done a whole season with this team, right?
Yeah,
because there have been 3 quarterbacks coming in since he has, and none of them has run the offense anywhere close to what he did.
Yeah,
so it would have been exciting to see what he could have done for this whole season.
2 of them veterans.
Yeah,
2 of them veterans of the CFL game. I took BC out of the top 3. Did you?
No, I still got Toronto at 4. They did look impressive in that game, but I want to see a little bit more. They haven't beat anyone that has a winning record yet either in this league. And they've feasted on the East and Saskatchewan, basically. Sure. Yeah. So, they lost to BC earlier this year. They've lost to Calgary. We'll see if they can beat Calgary this week. I'll start giving them a little more credit, but they were awesome against Ottawa, but it was Ottawa, 7 total takeaways in that game. The D is humming along pretty good. So
yeah. I had to move Toronto in that top 3 with 4 wins in a row. It's really hard to deny him at this point, especially the way BC is trending after that one game. But like you said, the test will be this week, Toronto and Calgary.
They played Calgary. They played Calgary pretty well the first time. There was that backbreaking McLeod Bethel Thompson interception that changed the game. But Toronto's D was shutting down Calgary.
It's not a bad team.
That was still Bo Levi, I think. So.
Toronto is not a bad team. They're just inconsistent.
Yeah. The offense especially. Like the D has been balling pretty good. But the offense, The offense didn't really have to do much. And I think they got really outgained by Ottawa. But I guess when your D is scoring that many touchdowns, they're not giving you a chance to get the ball anyway. So,
yeah. Who do you got at number 2?
Calgary, still number 2, or not still, I guess back into number 2 for me.
Yeah.
Big win. They needed that against BC, even if it was, Vernon Adams or whoever. They finally had to beat a team there. If they want to host the West semi, I guess they could still possibly do the West final as well.
Yeah, you could.
They could.
They have a good schedule. I don't have it up in front of me, but their schedule is pretty nice going into the final weeks of the season because they're not playing BC and they're not playing Winnipeg anymore.
No, I think Argos are basically their last tough game, really, right?
Good for Calgary. Maybe they may be peaking at the right time.
Yeah. So if they can win this week, I mean, the Bombers only need a couple more wins really to wrap it up, right? And they play BC twice in the last 2 weeks of the season. So, and then they got winnable games before that with Edmonton and Saskatchewan, hopefully. So they should be able to wrap that up, but you never know until it's done. So, but Calgary looked impressive. Their offense looked good again. Their D actually looked really good in shutting down Adams in that BC offense. So,
yeah, friends, feel free to put your picks in the comments below. We got a couple CFL hot topics to move on.
Wait. Did we put Winnipeg at number 1? Just making sure.
Look at that. I'm like just automatic. There's only one team left. I'm just like, let's roll through. They had a bye. You want to talk about the Bombers for a bit?
There's not much to talk about. They just got back to the practice field today, I guess, right? Bunch of guys missing. Jeff Coates still out. A few other guys, Wolotarski. Can't think of the rest of them off my head here, but so hopefully they'll get healthy.
Ellingson, Houston.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So they got a game Friday against Saskatchewan here in Winnipeg. So hopefully they get some of those bodies back. If not, I guess get rested over the next 4 weeks because they're needed in the playoffs no matter where they end up finishing anyways.
Oh, weather's starting to turn. So they really got to get that running game going. And another big name that was not seen on the practice field today was Stanley Bryant. Let's hope that it's a veteran day of rest, even though you're coming off a bye. Something to pay attention to. That could be a huge hole on the offensive line.
Well, especially when we're talking about them getting blitzed and everything like crazy. So
yeah, they better be
Saskatchewan. And the funny thing is Saskatchewan has a good D line, but against the Bombers, they were okay, like nothing special. Like nothing like Hamilton and Montreal did to that Bomber O-line. So you think they'd want to wrap it up, and Saskatchewan really need a big win this week if they want to keep their spot in the East semifinals alive.
Absolutely. Let's move on to the CFL Hot Topics now with, like we're talking about, teams starting to clinch playoffs. Who has the best shot of beating Winnipeg in the Grey Cup?
I'm going to have to go with Calgary on that. Just they seem more like the a finished product. They got a quarterback. They got a good offense. They got good receivers. Awesome running back. Their D is probably their weakest spot, and their DBs are not the greatest, but they're kind of rounding into form, and they look good last week. So I'm going to have to say Calgary, probably the toughest team. I know they can't beat them in the Grey Cup.
Yeah, I was about to say that the question was probably phrased wrong.
Yeah.
It's which team of the playoffs team has the best chance of beating the Bombers, because they will not meet in the Grey Cup. There's no chance of hell in that happening. Realistically, it's obviously the Argos who have the best chance of beating the Bombers coming out of the East. Saskatchewan crosses over. I don't think they can beat Toronto. Not at home.
I don't think I don't think they may manage to beat Montreal possibly, but they probably won't beat Toronto. Like they won't go to the East twice and win 2 games out there.
They have no O-line. They have no O-line.
No, and Montreal would feast on that alone, right?
Hit that reset button, Saskatchewan. Y'all got to get Jeremy. I don't like people losing their jobs, obviously, but in the world of sports where it's all about performance, I don't think Jeremy O'Day is it.
No, and Craig Dickinson's probably time has run out as well.
Oh, for sure.
There too. So it's funny. It's funny when I was answering that question about Calgary, and then it clicked in. I'm like, wait, they can't play in the Grey Cup together. No. As I was going through it, but
it's all good. It's all good. And we talk about a possible vacancy in Saskatchewan at HC head coach, and we know that Paul LaPolice is going to get fired from Ottawa. Where do you think his best fit would be, either as a coordinator or coach? Where do you think would be home for him, where he could succeed and the team will succeed with him?
I think he's probably done being a head coach in this league, at least for a break. Like I don't think he's going to get a job anytime soon as a coach, as head coach. he'd probably be better off going back as an OC. Maybe if Buck Pierce ends up getting a job somewhere, or Buck Pierce gets hired for maybe a Saskatchewan job or something like that, right? Then maybe he can come back to Winnipeg. But maybe his best bet is really going back TSN for a bit, doing some commentating there, because he did a great job on that.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's getting a head coaching job anytime soon.
I think the best fit would be for Edmonton for him. Get McAdoo out of there. Let him, he's great with quarterbacks. Let him coach with Cornelius, with a healthy James Wilder, and you have Walker, and he knows Lawler. I think that would be a great fit for him, and Chris Jones can worry less about the offense. You have a proven offensive guru in Paul LaPolice, and hopefully that'll alleviate some of the pressure. So I think Edmonton would be a nice fit for him.
Yeah, that would be a good one, actually.
I was thinking Saskatchewan a bit, but I was like, do you want to go back there again?
I was going to say Saskatchewan's, I guess, another option depending on who they bring in as head coach. But yeah, back again kind of thing. But, yeah, I mean, he came back to Winnipeg, didn't he?
He did. He did in a lower position, but we love him here. He knows he can always come back here if there's an opening, except for head coach maybe. Maybe he can't. Who knows? I don't know.
That is head coach. I would not be excited about that hire. Do you think Buck's got a chance at a job if one opens up?
Head coach?
Yeah.
No, he has trouble calling a good offensive game plan on a week-to-week basis with a great team as it is.
Yeah.
Sorry to say that, but I don't think Buck Pierce is just he doesn't respond to the blitz very well. He's really dependent on the greatness of the players that he has. I don't think he calls a genius game at all, to be honest with you. Sorry to say, and I could be.
But the lure of hiring a coach that's won 2 Grey Cups, like an offensive coach that's won 2 Grey Cups in a row. Mm-hmm. I mean, and he was also here for the first one, just not as OC, right? But that could lure some teams into thinking, hey, this guy's got what it takes.
Yeah, good luck, Ottawa or Saskatchewan, if you want to take that gamble. I don't think he's quite ready for it yet.
Ottawa's got to get their next hire right for sure. I mean, they obviously once they came back in the league, they had some good seasons and stuff like that, but it's been in a downward spiral for the last few years, so they got to hit that one.
I don't know what to feel. Maybe it's Bombers lost some pieces on offense with Drew DeJarle and Lawler, that the offense is not as potent, but it doesn't seem to me that Pierce has cemented his identity on this offense. They haven't fixed the O-line. Again, they're not very good against the blitz. I don't think he's up for a head coaching position next year.
Yeah, he's shown flashes. Like, obviously, like that first drive against Hamilton was a thing of beauty kind of thing,
Yeah.
And there's been drives like that, like crazy, but they're not few and far between, but they're just not consistent enough, kind of thing. Yeah. So I kind of agree with that too.
He's kind of in the Barry Switzer syndrome. He was set up with a pretty nice roster. Yep. It's not a head coach position, but you know what I'm saying. He was given something really nice to work with.
For sure, yeah.
Let's go south of the border. NFL Power 5. We got the top 5 NFL teams as of week 3 being done in the NFL. Who do you got at number 5 in your top 5?
You know what? This bottom part of this ranking, or not, I didn't necessarily put him in a top 5-1 or whatever, but the bottom part of this ranking was tough because after the first few, there's like a plethora of teams that are almost in the same breath kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But I'm going to give it, because they looked impressive yesterday, I'm going to give it to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who looked really good in beating up the Los Angeles Chargers.
What did you say?
I said San Diego.
Oh, it's like music to my ears. Just saying.
So, yeah, I'm throwing the Jags in that top 5, man.
Okay, well, 5, I got the LA Rams. They're the defending champs. I can't kick them out of the top 5 quite yet. Their ranking really depends on how Matt Stafford progresses or regresses physically. If his arm keeps getting better, they're going to keep getting better. If his arm gets worse, they're going to be in trouble. So I have them at number 5. Who else you got in your top 5?
I still, even though they choked it away yesterday and lost to the Colts, I got the Chiefs at number 4.
That, yeah.
That offense is still hit and miss right now with the new guys and everything like that. And they didn't look great against Indy yesterday. They struggled on offense. But the kicker, their rookie kicker, I guess the guy they just signed off the street a couple weeks ago, missed a couple big kicks. So that cost them in the end. I
got Green Bay at number 4. They beat Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. Pretty impressive considering that his receiving core isn't the best. But, when I say his, That's the man kind of right now of quarterbacks. It's the quarterback that the 49ers passed up on, Aaron Rodgers.
Twice, apparently.
Yeah, I gotta give a props up. Oh yeah, no doubt. I got props to them at number 4. Who you got at number 3?
You know what? They looked impressive in their first 2 games. They still looked not bad yesterday. That heat took them out pretty big yesterday. I'm going to put the Bills at number 3.
Yeah.
For the most part, that offense and that Miami D was strong yesterday and really shut down Josh Allen. But they had chances to win. They were missing a bunch of guys on D, and that heat. Stephon Diggs was taking in that heat, but the Bills will stay at number 3 for me after that loss.
Yeah, they're still a strong team. I got Tampa Bay at number 3. Even though I get it, I just called Green Bay at 4, and they beat Tampa Bay. But I think Tom Brady getting those receivers back is still a better team. And I'd still the next day take Tampa Bay again to beat Green Bay. They did it, but I'd still take Tampa Bay.
It's crazy to look at that game and go 14-12 and think that Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers were quarterbacks in that game, right?
No kidding, eh? That's like a Fitzpatrick Trubisky game right there.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what?
Oh, goodness gracious.
But like you say, their receivers on both sides are pretty beat up. So
yeah. I got the Bills that you had at 3. I have them at 2. They lost a big game, but I think they're still a dang good team who lost an exciting game and kind of shot themselves in the foot a couple of times as well against the Dolphins. So
yeah, that last pass of the game, the guy was open. Josh Allen just turfed it somehow.
Bro. So they had a chance. So they're hanging in there at 2 for me.
I got the team that beat them at number 2. I got the Dolphins at number 2, who have looked pretty impressive so far this season. Not great in their first game, but the comeback in the second game, and that D was phenomenal yesterday against this high-powered offense of the Bills. So, Mike McDaniels,
the genius. I have them at
number 1. Bring him back to San Francisco.
No, San Francisco is not even in this conversation right now.
I know.
Neither are the Steelers. So Miami, their offense is just impressive, and their defense continues to grow. A little bit drop off in week 1, but they're a growing defensive unit, and they're just fun to watch.
Yeah,
they're fun to watch, but in the end, you got to protect that QB. If dude falls down to the ground like that, take him out. Y'all still have 14 games to play.
Yeah, it's still amazed that he made it back in that second half.
That's crazy. Anyone, you don't have to have a middle degree. When someone falls to the ground like that, it's not their back. That's from their head cranking against the field.
And even if it was their back, though, or whatever, that's still pretty concerning because the guy couldn't walk. He was stumbling. Like, if that's your back, you're in some issues. You probably should not be coming back in that game anyways.
Yeah.
Back or head. So
don't risk that kid's future. He's still young. He's still young, and he's injury prone, so careful.
And that's the thing that goes back to even with getting off topic here a bit, but the Chargers, right? And risking Herbert the way they are with his ribs and stuff, and him getting beat up yesterday again. So
yeah, it's early in the season. Why are these guys putting these quarterbacks in horrible positions? And of course, he's not within this tier of quarterbacks what we're talking about. But why isn't Jameis Winston just sitting on the bench right now? Why is this guy playing with ribs that are messed up? You can't throw, you can't breathe. What are you forcing here?
Yeah, exactly. And it's going terribly for him, and it's going terribly for the Saints.
Oh, it's going brutal. No offensive identity. No offense. That's a great top. Oh, who do you got at 1?
Yeah, I was just going to say, did we do 1? Who did you put at 1? Did you say 1?
We just talked about the Dolphins.
Okay. I got the Eagles at 1. You left the Eagles completely off your list?
Yeah, because they haven't played anyone good.
Yeah, but they've looked impressive when they've won, and that offense is looking pretty good. So we'll see. I got the Eagles right now at 1. Yeah. Jalen Hurts, he looks like he's taken the next step and has looked pretty good. His wide receivers, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. And then that D. Yeah. I mean, they beat up Carson Wentz yesterday.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, they are very much on the edge there, on the outside of the top 5. I was between them and the Rams to sneak in that 5, but that schedule got me apprehensive a bit. I'll wait. I'll wait.
All right, but they got a pretty sweet schedule.
I know. All the way through. The NFC East is theirs.
Yeah,
the NFC East is theirs. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, for sure.
When Dak Prescott comes back, it doesn't matter.
No.
NFL Hot Topics.
Yeah.
Who will remain undefeated longer, the Eagles or the Dolphins?
See, going back to this, we are just talking about it. I'm going based off schedule and just looking at it, and I think the Eagles have the better chance. Even though the Dolphins have impressive wins against Harbaugh, I was going to say Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick, and they've looked good, and the big win against Buffalo, so they look good. But they got some tough ones sprinkled in here and there. The Eagles, we were just talking about, they got the Jags, which could be a tough one the way the Jags are. So we'll see.
Impressive.
We'll see if the Jags can live up to my number 5 spot here, if they can play a good game against the Eagles. Then they got the Cards, Cowboys, Steelers, Texans, and Commanders again. So, not the greatest, not the toughest.
No.
So I think they can go longer than the Dolphins. But in the end, I think both of these teams will probably be in the running for a playoff spot and probably be in the running for, making a deep playoff run.
Yeah, who remain undefeated longer? I'm going with the Eagles as well, only because the Dolphins play a short week, maybe with an injured Tua against the Bengals at home. The Bengals are at home, sorry. So I think they're going to lose their next game. So by process of elimination, the Eagles will remain undefeated. Keeping in mind, the Giants are playing tonight at 2-0.
Yes, they are losing now.
Oh, well, why am I surprised? Why it's the Giants? Why am I surprised? Oh, well.
Imagine that if they go 3-0. But again, their schedule hasn't been the toughest either. So.
Yeah. How about we go the opposite? 0-3. What's going on in Oakland/Las Vegas? Not looking good.
No, I want to say it's coaching, but I mean at the same time they were always this team even last year, so maybe it's part of the coaching personnel. Derek Carr, he's a good quarterback, but he still makes boneheaded mistakes. Devontae Adams is getting frustrated. I mean, he's probably thinking, "What the heck did I do? Yeah, I got my money, but now I'm 0-3, and that's a big hole to climb out of, especially in the AFC. There's some good teams there, and there's good teams in their own division. So, still, same Raiders team from last year, player-wise, still making mistakes. Still, like even yesterday, it coming down to them having to get a last-second touchdown with a 2-point conversion, which they missed on. And Derek Carr he hasn't taken that next step for me.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of issues going on there. And Josh McDaniels, jury's still out if he can actually be a head coach.
I'm going to defend Derek Carr on this one early in the season. I'm a huge fan of, the trenches, the O-line to D-line. In 3 games, they've had 7 different combinations on that O-line. That doesn't fare well for your quarterback. That doesn't fare well for your running game either. Until they get that, and they have 2 rookies playing on their O-line, they have their best center out, and they have a tackle out. Until you have a competent O-line in front of you, I think it's really hard to judge what everyone else is doing because Carr has no time to pass, and Jacobs, who is a good running back, has no holes to run. So until they have a healthy O-line, they're screwed. They're screwed.
Yeah, I mean, by the time they get that, the season will probably be over, or they'll be out of the race, kind of thing, and especially in the AFC. So they got to figure it out. Derek Carr is going to have to figure it out. Their weapon, they got weapons, man. I know Renfro was out this week, but they got Devontae Adams. Waller's not doing much either on offense, so they got to figure that out. And if it's getting that pass out quicker or calling better plays, that this season's going to unravel a lot quicker at 0-3.
So with all that said, if you had to put $10,000 on the line, who would you say is going to make the playoffs between the Raiders and the Jaguars?
I haven't looked at schedules and stuff like that, but the Jaguars got a pretty terrible division themselves. I don't know if the Colts are actually any good or if they got lucky yesterday. Titans finally won a game. Houston's Houston. So the Jags could win a bunch of games in that division, whereas Oakland's going to struggle to win. They've already lost one in their division, so they're not going to win the next 5. I can't see that happen. Or no, they've lost. Oh, yeah, 1 only. 2. Was it 2?
So who lost against a division?
No, the Chargers played 2 in that division. The Raiders lost to the Chargers, right?
Yes, they did.
They haven't played anyone else yet there. So
week 1.
Yeah. I would right now I would lean Jags.
Absolutely. I think the Jaguars can make a strong push for the playoffs in that horrible. We talked about the laughable AFC South.
Yeah.
That division is the worst in football. Worse than the NFC East.
Yeah, and Lawrence has actually looked decent.
He looks like he took that step up.
Yeah, and it probably helps having a competent coach in Doug Peterson than Urban Meyer.
If you were building a team, would you take Trevor Lawrence to build around? What quarterback would you take? If you could choose any quarterback in the NFL to build your team around, who would you choose?
Could I put Brady back to being a 20-year-old?
No, now.
To build around. It's tough to still go against, say, Josh Allen or Mahomes.
Yes.
I'd probably take Josh Allen right now.
Those are my two that come up to mind. Mahomes and Josh Allen.
Yeah, if you want to go based on guys in the last couple of years, Lawrence for sure. Like drafted in the last couple of years or whatever.
Yeah.
Lawrence, I know all the quarterbacks
Joe
from
Burrow?
last year. Yeah, Joe Burrow would be good. But he's, again, O-line issues, and he's kind of struggled this year too. So, but out of the 5 quarterbacks that were drafted last year, Lawrence has seemed to have taken the next step while the other guys are, obviously Lance is hurt. Mac got hurt yesterday, but hasn't looked good.
Yeah,
Justin
high ankle sprain.
Terrible. And then Zach Wilson. So,
not a very deep quarterback class as people thought at the beginning.
No.
Oh, well.
And when you got 5 quarterbacks drafted in the first 12 picks, you're like, oh, decent bunch. Not so much.
Friends, don't forget to leave your comments on some NFL talk in the comment section. I just hit my microphone. Sorry if that was loud. Shoutouts?
Yeah, I'm going to give one now to Brady Oliveira, Bombers running back. He does some work with the Canine Advocates, a nonprofit rescue organization. So he spent a day of his bye week out in Sandy Bay First Nation, north of Winnipeg, where he was, out distributing dog food and rescuing a homeless canine family of 8 pups. So, great job for him. Shout out to Brady Oliveira for doing some good work.
Just coming into his own as a player and always been a part of the community in Winnipeg. Great shout out. Also, shout out to a couple other Winnipeggers, Jennifer Jones and Reed Carruthers, who won the inaugural Point Best Invitational in Fredericton. It's a bit of a different, it's like a one game elimination. It's not a bonspiel. You lose once, you're out. You get to play a little bonspiel for a little less money, but the winners move on to win some big money. So Jennifer Jones and Winnipegger Reed Carruthers, shout out for both of y'all winning the single knockout tournament. Special shout out.
Yeah. The Jets have a new play-by-play guy taking over for Dennis Bayak. Dan Robertson is coming over from Montreal. Was he doing Montreal Canadiens broadcasting?
He's in the English Montreal Canadiens for TSN 990, I think it was.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so he's coming over. He'll be the new play-by-play guy. I guess he did do yesterday's exhibition game. I didn't get a chance to. I had it on, but I didn't have the volume up to see or how he sounded. So I'll look forward to watching that game tomorrow to see how he is.
Yeah.
And then John Liu coming over. He's taken over for Sarah Lusky's job on the TSN broadcast. So shout out to him as well.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Dan Robertson. He's not as fun as Dennis Bayak. Dennis Bayak had like this great sense of humor, and he had just this fun way of announcing games and going crazy. But Dan Robertson's a little more serious. Like, just imagine if Kurt Keelback and Dennis Bayak had a kid. You got Dan Robertson. Kurt Keelback, check out the interview we had with Kurt Keelback, our most viewed video. So check that out.
Yeah, for sure. That was a good one.
Yeah, he's so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get Dennis Bayak on here. We got to get Bob Irving on here. Man, I love commentators. It's just the voice of our youth when we grew up.
Yeah, for sure. Bob Irving would be great, actually.
So many good memories. You got anything to say about the Jets? Or do you have anything to say to the people?
Not much in the Jets. Exhibition game yesterday. They lost. So people are saying the world is over. The season's done.
Twitter, can you just chill?
It was a rookie lineup anyways. Let's see what these guys can do. Logan Stanley was getting ripped apart on Twitter already. So
he looked like a rookie.
He does. He does not look good.
They look like a team who was putting in a new system and weren't doing anything offensively. That's what they look like.
No, like you said, besides PLD and Perfetti, most of the guys, it was a youthful roster kind of thing all around.
Yeah.
So we'll see more what they can do once the season starts. One thing I don't like is that they got they're unveiling the Howard statue October 1st. So this Saturday, right? But the fact that they're doing it on an exhibition game and not doing it in a regular season game kind of seems odd to me, but I'm looking forward to checking that thing out.
Yeah, it's going to be beauty. Kind of saw a sneak peek of a picture that it might have been modeled off of.
Yeah.
We'll see. Benny, you got anything to say to our friends?
You know what? Just thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget, subscribe, follow, and have a good week.
And in the famous words of Ted Williams, baseball is the only field of endeavor where a man can succeed 3 times out of 10 and be considered a good performer. Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.